Hi, my name's Garuda, and I wanted to share a little bit about the beauty and the wonder of Sanskrit, and why I particularly really enjoy playing with it and exploring it. The primary reason is because it's alive. It's an alive, vibrant, dynamic power. In fact, to call it a language is really to limit it. My experience of Sanskrit is it is an alive energy. It's an alive power that has the ability to refine the nervous system, to remove any blockages that may be occurring within the mind and the body, so that we can experience a clear experience of our eternal nature. That is the absolute goal of what Sanskrit is. The amazing thing about Sanskrit too, and I first heard this from one of the uh, great teachers, Shankara, in one of his commentaries on the Brahma Sutras. Um, he said that the clearest experience of the divine word in this context, he meant Sanskrit, the word Om, was when the meaning and the sound are one, the object becomes transparent. Now you can't really understand that from the surface of the mind, but it's absolutely true. When one is very clear subjectively and still, and one chants a Sanskrit mantra, the meaning and the object become one. The sound, the object, and the meaning become one. And when these three components become one, the object itself becomes transparent. And that is the ultimate purpose of Sanskrit. When the objects become transparent, what we experience is a transcendental beauty, a transcendental joy and light that transcends all form, all physical form. Form arises, and yet the beauty is experienced because we recognize the self in all things. That is really the true meaning of beauty. True beauty is when we see the self in all things. Something is beautiful um, because we see divinity within it, which is not separate from the self. So the highest use of Sanskrit then is for us to experience the beauty of existence. The beauty of our own existence is the highest form. And that leads to greater realizations. So that's primarily the reason why I love exploring Sanskrit. I love playing with Sanskrit. I love exploring the texts such as the Upanishads, which talk about absolute truth, absolute reality, and the beauty of Sanskrit mantras. It takes one from wherever one happens to be on their path and places one in a direct perception of truth, a direct realization of truth. It has real power. And the reason it has real power is because what composes these mantras is at the core basis is that every syllable that makes up those mantras is like a seed, is like a light, a seed of light that is forever shining light since this universe began. It's never not. Because the sounds, the etheric sounds that create the Sanskrit power, the Sanskrit language, are the blueprints of the universe. They're the blueprints of the universe and our nervous system. And so that holds a great infinite meaning of intelligence and direction and purpose. Everything has an intelligence behind it. You know, it's the unseen intelligence that designs, that creates the design of a beautiful rose, or creates the experience of a dahlia. You know, what intelligence defines the difference between those two flowers? You know, it's the blueprint, the seed impulse of intelligence that determines what something's going to be, and the path that particular thing takes in this thing we call life. In Sanskrit, this intelligence and the way it unravels is known as dharma. and it's really one's purpose. And so contained within the seed sounds of the Sanskrit language, which are known as aksharas, is a vast infinite power of intelligence and potential. Now, when you tap into that, when you penetrate that mystery, that takes awareness, and that awareness is like almost like a crystal clear knowingness that starts to crack open that seed. The seed is ever present. They're called aksharas because they're invincible and immovable. That's what the word akshara actually means. That which can never be removed. It's there whether we believe in it or not. It's the seed intelligence that creates all manifested life, subtle and gross. And so that the seed lies forever present. And then the rishi, the person that can penetrate the mystery by resting in silence, is the being that holds awareness, pure awareness, and the mystery begins to come forth. And awareness then cracks open, so to speak, the core, the seed mantra of the Sanskrit. And as this happens, creation starts to bloom. It blooms because the conditions are perfect for it. And what makes the conditions perfect for it, what holds the context, is the silence. Obviously, Sanskrit couldn't exist. The appearance of Sanskrit couldn't exist without the experience of silence. So silence is the foundation rock of all these Vedic sciences, such as Sanskrit and the Vedas. So, Sanskrit is such an alive power. Not only is it the power that creates the manifest, the blueprint that creates the manifest universe, it is also the blueprint that makes up our nervous system, our physical bodies, our intelligence, our thought streams, our emotions. All these things are derived from the movement of vibration, which we would call Sanskrit. So the universe then is an extension of our nervous system. It's not a separate thing. It's not like we stop here when we identify ourselves as a physical body and then the universe begins, or the world begins. No, it's an extension of our body. And so by chanting Sanskrit, we enliven a quality of energy that is so pure that we start to cleanse and purify our energy channels in our body, both subtle and physical. And when these energy channels are clear, prana, life force, begins to move through these energy channels from the eternal to the relative, so to speak, clarifying and purifying. And when this stress begins to dissolve with the power of the prana, we start to experience the experience that was already ever present, which is the experience of pure awareness, or the experience of the self. So by the application, by the correct chanting of the sounds of Sanskrit, then we start to generate the Shakti, the prana, which reveals a clearer experience of the absolute. It is a divine art and a divine science. It's so precise that it's scientific. It's so ordered and complete in the structure of this universe. In all universes, it is so ordered and structured. It is flawless. It's like mathematics in its equation. It's absolutely flawless. This is where the correct pronunciation plays an important part with Sanskrit. And this Vedic science of pronunciation is known as shiksha in the Taittiriya Upanishad. But it all comes alive from one's perception, one's experience of silence. It all makes much more sense as a revelation from an experience of silence. And from that experience, we start to play within creation. We start to unlock the deep beauty of the ancient mantras, whether it be from the Vedas or the Upanishads or through the ancient mythological stories of Vedic culture, of the Puranas, the great epics of the Mahabharata and the Ramayana, and the great teachings of oneness from Vasishta's yoga to the Upanishads to the Brahma Sutras. There's something for everyone in the unfoldment of this sacred art. And largely, in a way, it's kind of a lost art in many ways. The true power of it, in a general sense, has been lost or forgotten simply because of the underlying principle that's been missing, and that is a direct lucid experience of truth. When one has an experience of truth, the whole thing becomes lucid. It becomes meaningful, and it becomes pure poetry of the universe. And so they're one of the few reasons why I enjoy playing with Sanskrit. And so if you choose to explore any of the Vedic teachings, then the potential is there to really dive into the mystery, to really bring it alive in a fire, in a direct living experience. So there's much beauty there, much joy there to be experienced. So I hope you enjoyed that little talk. Really, it was I just wanted to share my passion for the ancient teachings via Sanskrit and the Vedas, and enjoy your study. Bye for now.